Oh, hey kids, welcome back. We got a good one this episode. I'm telling you what, did something I always wanted to do. You know, we're in central Indiana, lots of car industry here, definitely in the Indianapolis area, really all over the state. But one of the big highlights is Auburn, Indiana. It's north of Fort Wayne. It's kind of in the upper third of the state, over on the kind of eastern side of that. It's where the mighty Auburn came from, the headquarters for Auburn Cord Duesenberg. If you haven't heard of those, go out and find out. I mean, Duesenberg, Indy winner, definitely Jay Leno now is a big fan of those cars, gets those kinds of things in his collection. $1 million cars for sure. I mean, for as few as they made back in the day, it was every, big movie star, performer, athlete, whatever, that was an aspirational vehicle. You had to have that one. That was the it car. Tested at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, certified to go, whatever, I don't know, 100 miles an hour, something like that. Something, stupid. I mean, just big power, big luxury car. But lots of other cool stuff came out of Auburn. And one of the things they have in one of the old Auburn factory buildings is a museum called NATMUS. Okay, what the heck is that? It's the National Automotive and Truck Museum. They've got some unique stuff, some local stuff. It's dare to be different, man. That's what we're all about. And the buildings are cool. It's right behind the really cool, award-winning, nationwide known Auburn Cord Duesenberg Museum, but it's right behind it, and it kind of gets overshadowed by it. And I'm telling you, I've always wanted to go there. It's a little bit of a jaunt for me. So I'm like, I ran out of time because you spend so much time in the ACD, the Auburn Cord Duesenberg Museum, that one kind of gets passed over. And believe me, there's plenty of other museums in the area too. So if you're up in that area and you got time, just hit them all. But this is the one that I wanted to see. And there was one big thing, the one prize that I wanted to see, and that's the Futurliner. And that's another thing that we can talk about all together because they got one. And there's only a few of them that really ever made, and there's even less that are left, but they got one, and I just wanted to see it. It was just such a part of Americana and General Motors history. I love them all, but I come from a General Motors family, and that's part of that history. Granddad worked for truck bus group, and that was definitely a truck and a bus, kind of both. And but they got one, so I thought, I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna see this thing. Oh man, was I wrong. That was a big highlight, but the other stuff, there's so much stuff there that they got. I just couldn't believe it. I was overwhelmed. And if you walk up to the building outside, it's like, meh, it's just an old block building or something like that. Nah, you've got to check this out. So get ready. This one's a little longer than before. Skip through it if you need to, but check stuff out. There's something in it. I mean, they got muscle cars, they got race cars, they got just one-of-one prototypes and things from the local, industry in there. It's brands that you've never heard of, I guarantee you. And I like to think I know quite a few of them. And there's stuff in there I'm like, really? I didn't even know that existed. I mean, especially the truck stuff in there. And that's their thing, National Automotive and Truck Museum. But they do more than that. They got die-cast cars, and that's in there too. If you like that part, check it out. If you don't, skip through it. But, look at as much as you can. It's fun stuff. And if you like it, I went up there. I went up there by myself. I don't care if I look like a weirdo looking at cars by myself. But, man, it's definitely family friendly. Go check it out. I'm going to rant about this for a long time. So let's get into it and check it out. Here we go. Pretty cool. ACD Museum over here. Part of the old factory back here. Let's check it out. All right, we made it inside. You kind of see the scale of the building here and some of the things that right inside the door, outside the gift shop lobby area. See a L29 quarter building, definitely old factory building. Got the lights shining into, or skylights shining into light up the place when may or may not have electric lights to be able to see what you're doing. Yeah, pause this and check it out if you want some more info. Pretty cool. I'd heard of these things before, but I'd never seen one. I don't really know the story. There's not a card here, but I believe this is what happened when you had a DeLorean that the body couldn't be straightened out. Obviously, pretty hard to work stainless steel, so they just painted them. And I don't know if that's true of the case or not here, but I don't know why else would you paint a stainless steel car. It's sort of like painting concrete or bricks or something. This is something I'd never seen before. I knew about these kinds of cars. This is kind of like the classic revival era where they're trying to make cars sort of personal luxury coupes already, like this Riviera here, sort of making a throwback to the true classic era of Packard. And it ends up kind of coming off like a lot of Packard doodads tacked onto front-wheel drive Riviera, which was a pretty cool car in its own right. But yeah, it's, I don't know. I mean, I'd still rock it, man. But kind of a waste of some Packard parts there. But who knows what the value of this thing is? I don't know. It may be super high price just because it's weird. But yeah, I mean, not how I would have done it. That's for sure. But it's still cool, Dare to be different, right? It's something that you definitely are not going to pass another one if you own it. But I don't know, Packard cool, front-wheel drive Riviera cool, Packard Special Coupe or whatever this is called, yeah, not so much. It's kind of like down the side there with that sweep chrome. And this is kind of neat. They sort of built like a small town Auburn dealership replica in here, and yeah, you're thinking, oh, it just looks like a garage, but I mean, really, that's what they were. I mean, they had a spot to park the car so you could come in. Customers are probably already sort of aware of what they're looking at, and pick one out, take it away. You got the guy there that knows how to work on them, get your parts, all that stuff. Long before the internet and where everything's connected. Here's a pause this too and check that out. Kind of tells a little bit about what they did and why. And this is kind of the service side of that. Check out that 4-post lift, man. It's all cable operated, which is kind of how they are now. But I don't see any emergency stops or anything on that. It's just picking it up, and you gotta pray that those cables don't snap, I suppose. But cool stuff. Lubritorium. How about that? This is cool. If you've never heard of Teetor, blind engineer, started Perfect Circle piston rings. This is one of his many automotive projects. Teetor engines. May have heard of REO, like REO Speedwagon. It's actually pronounced Rio. It's Ransom Eli Olds. Yeah, that Olds from Oldsmobile kind of got pushed out of his company, and so he started his own with his initials. And this truck here, which actually survived the car production, is kind of one of the things they started doing. Pretty primitive. Big old Mack. Remember, this is the National Automotive and Truck Museum, so yeah, there's plenty of cool trucks here. Lots more on the lower floor, but so fuel truck here, man, and this is pretty for no reason. Back in the days when you did those things. This car hauler, same deal. It's in the same area. I mean, white. You probably heard of white trucks. Freightliner white, Volvo white, whatever. But they were their own thing. They actually made cars in the beginning. Sewing machine manufacturer. I got a white sewing machine from the 60s, 70s. It's kind of cool, but man, the transporter here, I mean, check it out. Big old cutaway so you can see the cars when this thing's going down the road, and follow it to the dealership and make a deal. Just like I said, from the era when everything's styled, everything's fancy and beautiful, not just all practical. It's definitely form over function in a lot of cases, where it's the other way around these days. So here we go. This is the main reason I wanted to get up to this place. You got the little more modern baby Futurliner, and then you got the real deal here. If you haven't heard of these things, go check it out. It was like a traveling automotive circus, walking up on the diorama that they have here. I mean, it literally, they put tents up, they set it up, and sort of like brought the wonderful world of General Motors to your town. You see the wrong park there. This is a whole convoy of these things, and each one, the sides of this kind of bus, road going locomotive, whatever you want to call it, it had a different kind of subject, and I think they changed, but this was sort of like to, recruit young guys and gals into motorsports with the soapbox derby and the Fisher body contest. I mean, check that out, the atomic era there with the wheel covers and all the ribbed aluminum or stainless, I'm not sure what. But yeah, look at, there's the pilot, I guess you can call it, driver, sitting way up above there. I mean, it's nuts. I mean, just, it was meant to have that wow factor, so you'd go get you a new GM. Yeah, body by Fisher, of course. But just over the top style. Dual front wide white wall tires, and yeah, they say they're for the Futurliner, so it's not like they sold a whole lot of these. I believe they had to remake the molds to get this thing restored for these, because it's not like you're gonna go get some. And here's kind of a little bit of what was going on, and they had a guy in there. There's a mannequin up there, basically like a carnival barker, and he's telling you all the great things you can do. I mean, some of them had like jet engines or appliances, because GM had to into everything. Here's kind of I think Darrin and Reinbold, it's a local car dealership and an IndyCar team too. I think they built this, not sure why, but it was kind of cool. It's kind of like, I don't know, third scale one or something. But here's a kind of a little theater behind the real Futurliner. Got some stuff related to it. There's lots of memorabilia in this museum. Little movie playing about it. Some of the stuff I just told you. Here's the kind of the road going side there with it closed up, and that's not a sticker, that's actual emblems that they got on there. No wheel covers on this side, probably just to show you what's going on under the covers, more to speak. But yeah, I'd love to have one of those for my die-cast collection. That's actually 1/64th too, if you can believe that. That's how big these things are. Here we're back out in the main floor with some of the muscle car stuff, and I'm making my way back here because there's a couple things I want to talk about. It's pretty neat. See that diagnostics machine? I mean, that, I'm guessing that probably goes back to late 50s, early 60s, but we were using one exactly like that when I was in high school in the 80s, in the late 80s. But they got a video of Le Mans playing, and that was an oscilloscope. But yeah, hey, the thing still worked. It's pretty useful. Kind of a big boy version of my diagnostic equipment that I have in another video there, my Allen test equipment. Yeah, I see these kind of Robbie the Robot looking gas pumps, the more square ones, like the first one and this one we're looking at right now. I've got one like that's on my project list to restore, because that's what was pumping gas when I started driving, so kind of wanted to have one, not the cool visible ones or the round top, but get some drag cars here. These first gen Chargers are pretty far out with that big long fastback. Of course, you got the mighty Hemi here, the Elephant in all its glory. Definitely one of a kind. Here we go, the much maligned Edsel. I will say, if you look at what cars were coming out in 1958, the Edsel's not a bad looking car, and I've heard other people say that. People hate them, say they're ugly. Yeah, they didn't sell, but I don't think it was because of the way they looked. Everything was pretty freaky looking in 58 or overdone, and the Edsel at least had some restraint. I think the problem with the Edsel is twofold. big recession that happened right about that time. And also, they built it up so much. I mean, they had teasers going for months in magazines and radio everywhere, telling you how revolutionary the Edsel was. And while it did have some revolutionary features, it wasn't the flying car or the jet powered machine that people thought that was what Ford was going to send them. This is really neat. I love this thing. This is definitely 101. I forgot this was here. Kind of looks like just a little boxy car, but it was more or less this company was trying to drum up some business. And if you take a look at it, especially from the rear, it's kind of important because this is sort of like a ancestor to a later car that you might have seen. And there's one here we're going to look at in a second. But yeah, you see it's kind of unfinished, and you're like, why was this in a museum? Look at some of those before photos, man. I mean, that's just wrecked. So not like you're going to find parts for this. This is all 100% fabrication. So here's what you need to see is the rear view of this car, because look at that back window, the rear quarter window treatment, and the actual back glass there. That's real important because it's an ancestor of what we're going to look at next, which is the Henry J. Yeah, if you haven't heard of this one, this was a company called Kaiser that tried to make a compact car. Kind of like bad timing, really. Just wasn't a market for it at that time. They, it wasn't cheap enough of a discount over full-size Ford or Chevy to make the different distance. However, they sold enough of them that when they made it to the junkyards, I think every drag racer was looking for a lightweight body to put a big engine into, and there's very few of these in stock form, as you see here. They're all been cut up and made what you might hear called a gasser, which the world doesn't need any more of them. We got enough. But here's a kind of a rebodied version of the Henry J. This is a really kind of like a Corvette before the Corvette. It's a fiberglass sports car called a Darrin, which is named after the designer Dutch Darrin, and very kind of unconventional looking as far as the grill, but the doors are what's really cool about this. It's got like pocket sliding doors that slide into the fenders. Unfortunately, had the Henry J's drivetrain, which was pretty weak. I think Darrin bought the stock or some of the stock that was left over, put Cadillac V8s in it, I believe them, and made some real performers. Here's two like really significant designs side by side. You got the first gen Toronado, which is just amazing and definitely inspired by the original Cord, which is kind of appropriate. That's here, the Cord 810, not the original Cord, but the Cord 810. You can see a lot of the features, kind of the arches around the wheels and the wheels themselves, some of the other stuff. And then the Studebaker Avanti, which I love these early ones with the round headlight surrounds. I think they're the best looking of the cars. I think they could have sold as many as they could possibly make. Unfortunately, they couldn't make very many of them. People went in to get one. When they saw them, they were told, oh yeah, it's back ordered for whenever. And so they went and bought a new Vet. That wasn't every sale that happened, but they just couldn't keep up with demand. Again, kind of the same deal as that Darrin, that Kaiser Darrin. This is a Studebaker Lark, more or less. That's some aftermarket wheels from the era. The motor wheel is, I believe, what they're called. But it's a new body on an old Lark sedan chassis, but with a V8 and a lot of power in some cases. This is kind of important to me because when I worked on Gasoline Alley and did graphics, I worked on restoration of one of these cars. It may be this car, I don't know. But what I had was the original set of decals that go down the side of this. Digitized them, made a new set. They ended up on the car. I just saw the finished project going out. I can't tell if these are the ones I made or not. These could be an original set. I'm not going to claim them because there's more than one of these cars out there. But this one's from Indianapolis. It sure looks like something I worked on. I'm not sure. And it should, because I copied them exactly. Any little flaws or anything in the factory decals, I copied them. The interesting thing to you may be years later, when I worked for a company that did die-cast models, they were making an 18 scale version of this car. When they said, oh yeah, we got to do all that lettering on there, we got to get it right, I was like, hey, wait a minute, I got the original file that I made for the restoration car. So we used the file that I made to copy for the restoration on the copy 1/18 scale car. So yeah, I got the 18 scale one and the full size one should match. But lots of history about this car. Look that up. 71 pace car, pretty crazy. This is pause that and read that. Get a chance. We're going down into the Skunk Works. This is the lower level of the building. Like a basement, for lack of a better term. We're below street level here. This is where all the big truck stuff is. Man, there's just too much stuff to look at here. It's I spent quite a bit of time touring this, but there's just so much stuff. I mean, they got a lot of international stuff because just south of us in Fort Wayne, Indiana, is was the international truck plant where they made the Scouts and many other of the big international trucks. Got a really good collection of those here, plus a lot of other really unique kind of small makes of the products from the era, like that rototiller and other trucks, kind of like a Trainer Ford chassis here, cut away for to teach technicians or maybe sales guys or whatever. Hey, this is what we're selling. Got some old machines you can kind of see off in the distance here that we're moving up on. It's old line drive stuff. If you have ever heard of that, it's basically you had a powerhouse outside where there's a big steam engine or even a water wheel or something. It's turning a shaft at constant speed. You got different pulley sets. You throw the belt over top of it, and that's how you drive your machine. Pretty crazy to think of the day's standards, but they just didn't have local power going to every single machine. Here's some LSR cars, really cool international. I believe this is a record breaker, tractor, basically with a shell on the back of it for aerodynamics. Video in the background there, showing what's happening, and next to it, more conventional kind of streamliner. These things look like a dart, but kind of neat to see those sitting next to I guess normal sized cars and trucks. Kind of see what the scale of them is. I mean, look at that. It's 30 feet long or something. I mean, just crazy. All engine and driver and brakes. Take some stones to drive something like that. Yeah, this is kind of fun. Get an international pickup here. Motion activated lights when you walk past it. Several other internationals in the background there. Trucks, Scouts, Travelols. Got quite a collection. Again, just so much to go over. To kind of analyze every one. I mean, this video would be 10 hours long to go past it. Moving back into now, this is the other part of the museum is die-cast stuff. I mean, they got Farmall, International, and John Deere tractor models. If they're missing a product that they made for the past 100 or so years, I wouldn't know what it would be, because there's some of them that are obviously handmade that they made to fill in the gaps of some of the products in there. I mean, a lot of stuff. I got a few of these little tractors, but nothing like this. I mean, the stuff they have here, their die-cast collection puts, my couple thousand piece collection to shame. It's just out of sight if you're into that stuff, to see it in the smaller scale. And, some of the stuff just flat doesn't exist anymore. So to see it in the small scale at least gives you an idea of what might have happened or what it might have looked at like. Yeah, it just goes on and on, man. It's kind of fun. You could look at a lot of it. Right off the main floor and the main area when you walk in the gift shop, you got more of a conventional like cars and trucks section. It's huge. Again, it's just so much stuff. There's plastic model cars. There's every scale you could think of in here. Some of the stuff, it's like, oh yeah, I got this one, I got that one, and then you get into some of these early, tin toys and things that they made 120 years ago or something, for little buggies and stuff like that. Lots of Tucker stuff, of course, that's real popular. But I see a few things here and there that I actually own and you may own too. But they got it lined out really good where you can actually see it in there. Lots of stuff. I don't know where it came from. I think some of these are the old promotional models that the car companies would send out to their loyal customers and say, hey, check it out. Look what we got next year for Plymouth. You should come and trade it in. And but I mean, there's just case after case. I mean, it's a minute here. I kind of back up and show you around how big this room actually is, but it goes on and on for quite a ways. Just rack after rack, and it's laid out really good where you can stand there and look at it. I mean, I'm getting pretty close to it. I mean, obviously you can't touch them and you wouldn't want to, but get a space reserved here for some Futurliner stuff, which is awesome. But yeah, I mean, big room there. You can see I'm in like a third of it there, kind of more at the front here. Some really old stuff at the top. You're looking out into the service area. That this is actually where you took your cord or whatever to go get service back in there. That's not accessible at this point, but it's part of the original building, and they got some stuff back in there. I think that's where they're prepping their great race cars and things like that. Here we're looking at some badges from the World's Fair, kind of related collectible stuff. It's also in the die-cast area. Where else are you going to see stuff like that? Kind of keep like a theme going of at least a timeline. Looking at the service area there. This case of fire trucks is just fire trucks and fire apparatus, and it's probably more than everything I got. Period. It's very thorough, and but it's a lot of fun if you're into that smaller scale. And it's sorted out to where, if you're not, you don't have to go in there. There are a bunch of taxi cab stuff there, commercial car things. Like I say, all different scales, just all different manufacturers. Just definitely, if you're into the die-cast part of the car world like I am, it's there. Yeah, this kind of threw me here. Look at this German-developed STP. I'm guessing this is several years after 1945, because I don't know that you really want to be bragging about that. Look at this crazy thing, electric truck, Walker. I mean, everybody knows electric's nothing new, but wow. I mean, this is some hardcore stuff here. I mean, it looks like a tool shed or something mounted on top of a couple steel rails. Rough riding machine there, I'd imagine. This a little bit more developed, but still looks pretty hardcore. Just brands I've never heard of, and I like to think I know quite a bit about the old cars and old trucks. But yeah, what the heck's a Noble? Who knows? But solid tires. Wow. I mean, you need like a kidney belt and a mouthpiece to ride around in those things. But look how far it's come. I mean, I'd say big trucks still aren't Cadillacs, but I mean it's nothing like this. I mean, Nelson Lemoon. Okay, sounds cool, but more of a now they say road tractor, but I mean these really are. I mean they're super primitive, but just so cool, and so many of them are in kind of as found or unrestored conditions. So it makes you think, man, this thing was probably running, right up until they said, okay, it just doesn't make sense to keep it anymore. Let's put it in a museum. So, some of these things from the 20s, 30s might have made into the 60s and 70s on a farm or something. That's just hard to believe. But that's what's going on. There's no way they would have been maintained at all if they had just been setting since 3-4 years since they were made. Again, you see a couple like this one here where it's a little prettier, a lot more prettier. Really neat, a little more civilized truck. I mean, like a delivery truck. This little yellow one here, pretty sharp. Indiana, right on. And yikes! I mean that's ready to eat somebody, isn't it? But hey, that's how you keep the roads clean, I guess. giant truck snow thrower. It's kind of built like a road grader. It's got a big old diesel engine here in the back. Never seen anything like this before, but it is super cool, man. Like you said, this is the National Automotive and Truck Museum, so they got trucks in here. But SnoGo, all right, sounds cool. Big Climax diesel. I'm not familiar with them, but I'm sure that'd probably pull a house down, no problem. Yep, very, very cool. Old brass carburetor. All the stuff's right there where you can fix it. Yeah, Acme. This is neat too. Pretty neat looking truck. I'm sure it isn't a super smooth ride either, but just to show you how far we've come with that. Take a look inside the cab here. Kind of something cool. Look around here. We just got like a big warning, like maintenance instructions there, adjusting the clutch and some other stuff. So that must have been an issue for them if they cast that into the floorboard to tell you how to fix this thing. But yeah, it's just another time, right? Different set of circumstances going on. I mean, who would do that now? Yeah, that's pretty neat. Some old signage there, Diamond Cheat Truck, and I think that's the neon was Westinghouse air brakes, which same Westinghouse, electrical guy, and many other things. I thought this was kind of fun, fuel truck, but not a truck. It's horse drawn, so they're pitching. Use it in your gasoline cars and all that, but they're pulling it with a horse. So that's kind of funny, isn't it? I mean, I wonder how they explain that one, but still really neat and in great shape. But yeah, another kind of cool collection here. They got a bunch of die-cast taxis here, kind of an evolution of the taxi cab with taxi driver badges from 80 years ago, and big Tucker stuff. Tucker's cool no matter what you're doing, and they got some books here. Got that. I got that book. Got a stock certificate. That'd be kind of neat to have. A little bit of kind of interesting letters, correspondence from the man himself. Got wheel covers and some accessories, which kind of one of the things that got his corporation in trouble was selling those accessories before they sold the cars. Bunch of kind of customized die-cast cars, some dioramas, some literature, different scales of Tuckers out there, which a lot of us probably have if you're into that. But all grouped together is kind of fun. Here's one of the most beautiful cars ever. I mean, the paint scheme on this is out of sight. I mean, it's gold with the red pinstripe, and it's just like a piece of jewelry. I mean, it's expensive cars here today too, but I mean, nothing like that. I mean, this is another local car there, but definitely a much older Brass-Era car. Another L29 Cord here. The colors just don't show up in the video like they are. These are much more brighter, festive colors than what shows up in the video here. I mean, it's amazing some of the color choices that people picked for cars back in those days, like the 20s and late 20s, early 30s, kind of right or dancing around the Depression. Here you go. You all know what a Model A Ford is. Well, hey, yeah, there's a Model A before a Model A, and that's one of them. They do a good job here, kind of building dioramas in this museum to kind of put the cars in perspective. That filling station next to it, I think it's a recreation, but the diner was not. That diner was a real diner that they moved from somewhere else. Got some race cars here. Marty Robbins, pretty famous country singer. If you haven't heard of him, he who would think of it today? Guy chart-topping country singer. He also is out driving a NASCAR. These things are just nuts, man. These those super modifieds. Wow, that takes a special person to drive those. But yeah, they got that here. They got a bunch of stuff that's got all those stories. I mean, quite a bit of variety. Another shot of the color scheme of Marty Robbins cars. I think he kind of stuck with that. I've seen a lot of them in that kind of plum and yellow color there. Got a petty car here. I mean, those those look tough no matter what model it's on, that paint scheme. But yeah, some old dirt track cars and little midget car, kind of looking back into the gift shop lobby area where you came in, kind of back to the beginning. Well, there you go. There's another one in the can. How about that? I mean, if none of that turned you on, I can't help you, you know. But I know that's why you're here, because we do the weird stuff. We do the different stuff because we dare to be different, you know. I'm trying to do SpongeBob there. But anyway, go there. It cost me $9. It's 10. Whoa, I saved $1 because I had a AAA card. Hey, it was $1. I saved it. But the staff there is super friendly. They got a gift shop right when you walk in. Usually that stuff is just garbage. You know, it's overpriced trash. They had some, like, actually antique stuff in there that you could get. They had, you know, they had some new stuff. So they had some gear that you wanted a shirt or something like that. They definitely had that stuff, and it was reasonably priced. But they had all kinds of old books and some old die cast and just some kind of unique stuff. And I was really kind of rifling through it, trying to find something to come away with something. And I was like, nothing. I got so much stuff, man, you know. And I was just like, I'm gonna wait. I probably should have walked away with something, because I'm going back. It's a cool place. So if you get a chance to check it out, you will not be disappointed. Again, thanks for watching, and do that homework. As always, like, subscribe, share. We are going to keep doing this no matter what you do, but we hope that you join us for the ride. And we'll see you next time on Smith Motorworks. Thanks a lot, everybody. Later.